my next guest here is the lovely Cassidy. She's a fitness coach and diet. Do you do diet as well?
Yeah, I do
Dietitian?
nutrition coaching. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So how did you get into that? What made you decide you wanted to take that as a career path?
Well, after high school, I took a year off because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was going to go into the sciences and psychology at UBC, and then I was going to do business at BCIT. And in that time frame, I just couldn't decide. So I enrolled in both and I dropped out of both within the first 2 weeks. And with all the stress of just life and finishing up high school and all the changes going on, I developed a thyroid condition. And basically, long story short, the doctors wanted to put me on this medication that'll help slow down my thyroid, which means my metabolism would decrease. And it made me feel super lethargic at first. So what I decided I was going to do was try and figure out a natural way to kind of manage my symptoms, which was rapid weight loss and my racing heart and being constantly hot all the time. So what I ended up doing was just eating a lot of food and training at the gym, doing strength training to try and put on some size. Because I dropped about 40 pounds in the span of 2 months right after high school. And it was just ridiculous. So that was my first problem that I wanted to fix, because everyone was like, you look so unhealthy. And through that, I started going to the gym, obviously, and other people started reaching out to me, trying to ask me for help, but I couldn't really figure out how to help them because I was still learning how to help myself. So I went to school and I got my certification for personal training and group fitness. And then in the last year or so, I've gotten my nutrition certificate as well as prenatal, postnatal, and just being able to give back what I've been able to learn and utilize in my life.
Yeah. So you mentioned the thyroid. I didn't know that it went in reverse too. I always whenever I had talked to people that had a thyroid problem, it was they were gaining too much weight or they were too heavy. I didn't know up until recently. One of my guests actually that came on here that I work with, he said that he had a thyroid problem where he was losing weight rapidly. So that was all news to me. I didn't know that was something that it went in both ways. What is a thyroid problem? Do you know a little bit more about it? Because I don't.
Absolutely. So your thyroid is located in your throat, and it essentially controls your body's ability to process your T3 and T4 hormones. These are what control your ability to metabolize food as well as regulate your system hormonally. When it goes in either direction, your hormones are out of whack, which means it can lead to different types of heart conditions. It can lead to ability to lose weight or gain weight really quickly, or even just there's you can get really lethargic, depression, anxiety, depending on whether you're on the high end of a rapid thyroid or a low end of a low thyroid. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. What a thyroid does is help you metabolize food and regulates your system.
And how can working out and eating properly affect that, both negatively and positively?
Well, in my journey, I guess, with my thyroid, what I wanted to do was try and slow down my metabolism. So because I was losing so much weight, and it was there was nothing I could do to put it back on, no matter how much I ate. And at this point in time in my life, I was eating ridiculous amounts of food. I used to smoke marijuana, and I was eating anything and everything in sight. I remember drinking a 1 liter of eggnog with a straw, and it was that didn't make a difference.
Delicious though.
Oh, it's amazing. My main focus was just getting in a large amount of calories in a short amount of time. And so I was consisting of 4 meals a day, and they were hefty meals, pasta, all the rice, all of the beef, chicken, whatever, and oats and peanut butter. I kept it pretty simple just because I had to eat a lot of it. And when you have to eat a lot, it's expensive as ever, especially when you're living on your own and you're young, right? So being able to slow down my metabolism doing that and having like a lot of food to digest at once, your body isn't rapidly getting in like snacks all day. So it's not constantly needing to be metabolizing and digesting food. So keeping it on like the heavier end of like higher fats and higher carbs, pretty much high everything. Like I was eating the equivalent to what a 14-year-old boy would probably eat if he was playing hockey, like competitively.
Yeah.
So by doing that, I was able to slow down my metabolism. And then with the strength training aspect, I was able to put on muscle, which was a lot easier to keep on than any sort of like body fat. So naturally now I run pretty low on my body fat percentage, which plays a role in your hormones as a woman. So making sure I'm like adequately hitting those macros to be able to refuel my body and like manage the like my physique has been a lot easier now that I've put on a substantial amount of like muscle. So yeah, that's where how like goes in like the hyperthyroid and then the hypo. I don't know enough about it to speak on it confidently. I know that eating smaller meals throughout the day and eating more consistently and avoiding those high fat foods that take a long time to digest are a little bit better for that condition. And then obviously working out, you can work out, but most people that I know who have hypothyroid, they've gone on medication and they need to go on medication because of the like lethargy that happens, like the lack of motivation, the like depressive feeling of like just being so tired all the time. They've needed medication to manage it properly.
And see, when you are looking for clients or clients are looking for you, do you have more of a client base that's just looking to improve their fitness, or is it more people that have health problems that kind of need help and guidance?
So basically, what a lot of the people that I've attracted are people who, there's two different categories. There's like the weight loss category and then the category of women who want to lose weight, but they're not at a place in their health and their daily routine where they can actually start on their like weight loss goal because it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So typically I have a really good amount of both. It's an equal balance of both just like the health aspect and then the weight loss kind of category of people who are looking to lose a substantial amount of weight, who have like a solid routine and habit base already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I know that you've previously competed in fitness competitions, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I have.
How was that? Like, does that take like a mental toll? Because I know my mom still competes to this day. And I think she's 45 now or something. I don't know. Something like that. But she like, I could see some of the struggles that she would go through and like eating and mood and all of that. And like, I would just say like, I could never do that. I like being in shape, but I like lasagna and it's sour candies and all that better. So like, how long do you have to train and diet ahead of time? Like how much of your life do you have to dedicate to that if you want to be competing?
So pretty much all of it. You constantly have to be thinking about what you're putting in your body, when you're going to like put your workout in, your cardio in, your mobility, your posing practice. Yeah, I didn't start competing though until about like 3 or 4 years into my training. And that was after going to the gym like 5-6 days a week consistently. So I'd already built a substantial amount of muscle. And having a hyperthyroid condition honestly gave me a leg up in being able to not need to cut and like diet as heavily as a lot of other women and competitors have to. And I don't like to necessarily talk about it a whole lot because I know how hard and how much effort and how bad the cravings can be for people. Because I went through that too. I tried to do it super strict, super clean eating the whole time, but I was working 3 jobs. I was serving 5 nights a week. I was personal training in a gym, and I was like working at a supplement store 5 days a week. Plus, on top of that, I was doing cardio and then training sometimes 1 to 2 times a day, depending on how much time I had to get my workouts done. And then another like 25 to 30 minutes of posing a day because I didn't know how to walk around in high heels.
Yeah.
Let alone pose. It was the craziest thing. So it was a lot of me and me against myself. It was a lot of doing my best to be able to understand the nutrition factors that and the complications that come with having a hyperthyroid. And I coached myself too. So there's a lot of nutrition knowledge that I had to learn about. And I got a lot of help from other people and just learning from other competitors who have done it before. But I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like I definitely drank and I definitely had like a cheat meal like 1 to 2 times a week. And there was times when I ate candy, like full on. And the reason being for that was like I was able to, like I showed up to my show on show day way too lean, way too flat. Like I didn't do it the right way. I didn't look nice and full. I like you could see my ab veins like 3 weeks before my show, which is not what the level of like bikini is looking for. You can probably ask your mom, like ab veins are cool and all, but I mean, like 3 weeks before your show, you shouldn't be that lean. And it just looks gross. But I was in this like perception of I needed to be leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner. And then I would like drinking like a glass of red wine or having like tequila in the evening made me look a lot leaner and smaller in the morning, which made me feel good. So I was like, yeah, I look nice and like shredded right now. This is great. But I had no idea. It was like my very first competition, my very first like shot at trying to like coach myself into like, which is a pretty extreme sport.
Really?
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of complications that can happen when you're doing those types of like things, especially if you're drinking, especially if you're not like mentally able to see like the situation for the reality of it, which is why like I recommend hiring a coach if you're ever going to compete. For sure. Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, because it is a lot when you've got all that other stuff going on in your life. You can't really give that part of your brain to plan your own workouts and then do the workouts, because then you're going to have that part in your brain telling you don't want to do it, or that you don't have time to do it, or that you're tired, or you being tired might affect your planning of your workouts, or if you want to not do it. So it's always better, I guess, when you have somebody there that's giving you the outline that you're going to need to finish your workout or your diet or whatever it is that you don't feel as confident doing yourself.
Absolutely. And there's also this part too where it's like your coach is supposed to change things based off of the way your body looks at different times of the day with different types of food in it. And there's almost this like distortion that happens when you're constantly looking at your physique and you're trying to make appropriate adjustments. And I'm a person who is like, more is better. Let's go. Like I'm very black or white when it comes to my mindset about things. So if I like commit to something, I'm going to do it and I'm not going to stop until I get it done. And there's no excuse in the world. Like I would finish a shift at the restaurant and like go at like 2:00 in the morning to a 24-hour gym to get my workout in, because there was no way in hell I was going to show up on like show day and not feel confident about my like the level of effort I put in. So it was definitely really fucking taxing, really taxing. Sorry, I just swore.
That's okay. So what would you deem a healthy level of exercise? Because I know there's a fine line between healthy and obsession, and to the point where like, how much do you think you could or need to dedicate of your life to make changes or set the tone for a healthy lifestyle, as opposed to being obsessed and getting body dysmorphia and all that good stuff?
That's a really good question. That is a really, really good question. And it honestly differs for every individual, because people are so unique in the way that they are able to show up for themselves, where their starting point is, what they need to actually be able to make it a habit and not an obsession and not a more of a routine-based lifestyle type of thing, for it to be a healthy like lifestyle. Essentially, like you have to balance everything else out, and a lot of people are super busy, I find, especially if you have kids. Especially like most of my clients, they have kids, they work full-time, and then on top of that, their kids have extracurricular activities. So for them to be able to work out for like 45 minutes, some like from 2 to like 5 times a week, like that's great. And it's totally dependent on like your schedule and where you can find time for yourself to be able to do it. I know that for a large part of my like training, I would go like 5-6 days a week, sometimes even 7, for my mental health, because that's a part of like where I find a lot of like zen and get to chill out and just do me and not have to care about anything else in the world. So when I first started working out, it was a lot of mental just release and calmness for me that I got from the gym. So yeah, I did it 7 days a week. It was not very healthy. It wasn't getting me any closer to my goals, right? Because our bodies need to recover and rest to be able to essentially build and utilize like the time that you're putting into the gym to get towards your goals. So yeah, I'd say anywhere from like, 1 to like 4 or 5 times a week, depending on like your lifestyle and what's manageable for you.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's tough. I used to be a lot more hardcore into working out than I am right now. I mean, this is when I was younger, of course, like just when I was either in high school or just finished high school and I had all the time in the world and no responsibility. And I went probably 6 days a week for a couple hours. And I never really dieted hard. I tried to cut some things out of my life because they were terrible. And I just wanted to see like how lean I could get. But it wasn't for me. I like junk food more than I like abs. And I like, my idea of being fit and looking good is just being able to confidently either run or exercise without getting sore or pulling something or anything like that. It's not so much about what I look like. Obviously, I don't want to look like I'm unhealthy, whether that's one extreme or the other. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough because like you do start, even to one degree or another, you start to get, I don't want to call it body dysmorphia because it might not be that extreme, but like you start to notice things and then you said, oh, I got a little bit better here. Maybe I can go more. Or, oh, now that my triceps are big, let's do my shoulders or let's do my back. And then all of a sudden it's a slippery slope of you never thinking that you're good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes both ways too. I mean, like when you start to see those positive changes, whether it be in the gym or what society deems as positive because you've seen numbers go down on the scale, or like for me, I think it was really hard in the beginning when I had to decide that I was going to go to the gym and put on some size, because like I never really was concerned about what my body looked like growing up until I was like halfway through high school, and someone's like a really good friend of mine's boyfriend was like, oh, is Cassidy like put on some weight, and like started commenting on my body. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I put on weight? I was like, I have no idea. I don't think so. So like when I did initially lose all this weight, I was like,
yeah,
pretty annoyed that like I couldn't fit in any of my clothes, and I'd put on pants and they would just wear me. Like I was not wearing the pants. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Which was pretty like hard to see. But then a lot of people started commenting on like how small I was, and they're like, oh wow, like you look shredded. Like, whoa, what's going on? And like you've lost so much weight. Like you look great. And then there'd be other people that actually knew me and were like, you look like you have an eating disorder. What's going on? Because we see you eat all this food. Like, are you okay? And it like really fucked with my head, because I was like, I went from this person who like didn't really care about what their body looked like or didn't feel any discomfort in what I saw in the mirror. And then I lost all this weight and people started saying like both positive and negative stuff. And yeah, my perspective of like my body and what I deem as healthy has definitely shifted and developed as I've gotten through like being like super skinny to putting on some size to then going into competing and then now reverse dieting into just like maintenance. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's hard though. And doing it on your own, like I have clients who will look at themselves in the mirror and like I can see their progress, but they don't see anything. And they're really hard on themselves. So that like narrative that you play around in your head, it really impacts your ability to make progress too, right? Because your levels of stress that you're putting on yourself to be better and you're not good enough and all this like shit you talk to yourself in the mirror every morning, like it impacts your stress levels, which impacts your ability to lose weight, to gain weight, to do whatever. Because like cortisol in people is like a hormone. It's like the stress hormone. We have too much cortisol. We have like sugar cravings. We don't sleep properly. Whatever. And it just like, it makes it all the much more worse, because now like these women aren't achieving their goals. They're talking shit to themselves and they can't even see their own progress. And their stress levels are just through the roof. So they end up not making progress long term, which is just horrible because they still don't see that like their bodies have changed and they don't see a point in trying and keeping going with things, right? So body dysmorphia is a real thing for sure.
It is a real thing. And it gets kind of nasty when you go to the gym all you want, but what you're eating or what you're putting in your body is so bad that it counteracts. Like you can go to the gym all you want, but if you don't eat properly, or if you party or do any of that or don't sleep, then you're not going to notice anything. And then you're going to see that you're not noticing anything. And then you're going to get more upset, and then you're going to eat more that's bad, and you're going to party more. And like if there was one food group or like one thing that you would definitely say to stay away from, like, I mean, I don't eat sugar on weekdays. That's my thing. I tried to cut it out because I ate way too much sugar. So I kind of binge on the weekend, which I know isn't good, but I don't eat any on the weekdays. So it's like naturally I am taking in less. But like, what would you say is something that you should definitely stay away from and not eat, just for everyone, not just if you're trying to compete or train?
I'd be a hypocrite if I told you that there was one
That's
specific
okay.
group, right? Obviously processed sugars and refined like grains, those are not good for your body's level of inflammation. Anything processed that you're putting in your body has extra, like, I don't want to call them chemicals, but when I read them on the back of the boxes of things, they look like chemical words to me. Like, I don't know, like,
Do you have the whole, if I can't pronounce it, I'm not going to eat it rule?
oh yeah, no, but I definitely like, it's hard. So I can eat a lot of shit food.
Yes.
And the only thing that happens is my face will break out. The level of weight gain, like, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't fucking happen for me because I really struggle to get in all the food that I'm supposed to eat in a day. So if I get extra calories from like a donut or like that bowl of ice cream or half a pie, like that isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is for my skin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty tragic, like the level of like impact refined foods causes on my face, because like I've never had acne before, and I notice when my diet starts to falter and I'm not eating whole foods or naturally like based items in my diet and less vegetables for sure, I will break out. And other people will gain weight if they look at a donut, but it's like I don't have that problem, so I justify it in my head, which is fucked up. It really is. But it goes back to that whole like dysmorphia and excuses and like reasons why we do things. And so that's something I've been working on actively, is to not eat sugar and refined things.
So good though.
Oh, I know.
I know. Like I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where I don't ever gain any weight from doing anything. Like I'm at work and there's this guy that brings us pizza every Thursday, and no one else wants to eat it because they're all on diets, and I'll eat half the pizza myself, and everybody's swearing at me because they don't like me. But I try to eat healthy for different reasons. Like I get breakout insets when I eat too much sugar, or I think I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to certain wheats. I shouldn't be eating them, but I do anyways. Cause like the only thing that happens is I get some breakouts, but yeah, physically I don't look any different, but I just feel like crap. Like I'm just dragging my ass. I don't sleep good. I have no energy. My mood changes. Like I'm grumpy. Well, not grumpy, but I'm just like tired and don't have the energy to commit to conversations or plans or anything like that at work.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Totally. It does. Like that's a big thing too for me. It's like how I feel when I'm eating, like, I'll call it clean. We'll call it clean. It's just like chicken and rice and like pretty plain, like oats, peanut butter, and I'm not having those like refined things like bread and like donuts and ice cream and cookies and all that stuff. Like I feel so good. And after a while, after like about 2 weeks, I don't crave the sugar. I don't crave any of that stuff. And I feel like I have way more energy, and I feel better about myself. I can sleep better. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night being like, I want ice cream, and I have ice cream, so I'm gonna eat ice cream. You know, it's like I don't have shit happen, but I do if I constantly am putting like sugar in my body. So yeah. It's good not to totally have it every day, I'd say, but I mean, once in a while, like within moderation. Like that's what I tell all my clients. Like you can enjoy your birthday cake, you can enjoy ice cream out with the family. Just don't do it every single night of the week if you're trying to do X, Y, Z. Also, it doesn't make you feel very good, like you've mentioned.
Well, I mean, it's not like a cookie cutter solution for everyone. It's everybody's different. Like what just because your neighbor or your girlfriend or your mother can eat cake once a week doesn't mean that you can. And you have to, like, it's not fair. It'll never be fair.
No.
And it's not like people will just read a diet online and then it doesn't work for them. And then they think, oh, no diet will ever work for me. Or they'll work out all the time and they won't lose weight. And it's no workout will ever work for me. But it's like, it's always constantly shifting and changing with your age and with your other elements of your life and what you're eating. And you kind of, it's really hard. And that's, again, why I would recommend, and I know you would recommend, getting a professional to help you with either your training, your diet, or both, if you have goals, and not just kind of Google a workout and go with that.
Yeah. Like everyone's body is so unique. Everyone's lifestyle is so unique. Everyone's external, internal, like stressors, realities, and just perspectives on life it's all unique. What you've done before is unique to another person's like experience in the gym, right? Like it's all different. So Googling that shit just doesn't work. It's not going to get you where you want to go. And it takes a while to actually start seeing real progress. Like, honestly, it does. It does. Because your body, like, as amazing as it is, it's going to take a while to unlearn those habits. It's going to take a while for your body to adapt to the new stressors you're putting on it. And like eating more, because what I've noticed too is most people don't eat enough. And their body's in this like starvation mode, and they'll eat maybe not even breakfast, all the coffee in the morning. So they'll get calories and then they won't eat until about right before dinner or after work because they don't pack themselves a lunch. And then they're like starving. So they'll eat like some shitty food on the way home or whatever, maybe another coffee. And then they'll have one meal a day, and that's not enough. And your body's constantly holding on and preserving this food for later. So following these new diets, like doing keto or whatever, like, and if you're not already eating more than once a day, like what the fuck do you think you're going to get out of following some online diet? Like you need to actually look at your like relationship with food and your relationship with yourself and why you're not making time to feed yourself, and understanding what food actually does for your body and how you can feel good and not feel lethargic by like 12 o'clock in the afternoon because all you've had is a coffee. And like you can maybe not be so hangry at work, and maybe you're like you can be happier and get better sleep because you're not waking up in the morning like exhausted because you didn't feed yourself properly the day before. Like there's so many things that it just happened to be with like the way you live your life, and going online and trying to find some quick fix solution, some sort of discount way to like get where you want to go. Like it's never going to work because you don't actually have the foundation of like what a healthy lifestyle needs. And then I don't know, it's a lot to do with too, like losing the weight and then you gain it back. Like if you do anything like some 21-day diet detox where all you drink is juice, like you're gonna see that weight loss. Or even doing keto, if you're doing it for like weight loss purposes, yeah, you can lose all that weight, but what happens when you start incorporating carbs again? Like you don't actually know how to do that. Most people don't know how to do that. And it takes someone who knows what they're talking about to actually be able to help you get there and like work through the psychology and the mindset aspects with you along the way. Because you're your own worst enemy when it comes to deciding what's best for your body, especially.
Yeah, of course, you're biased.
Yeah, you're so biased, and you just want to see what works, and what works isn't always in balance with like what's best for your health long term, right?
There's always the cheating or the shortcut that I know it's more of a guy thing, but obviously there's girls that indulge in it too. And that's the whole steroid argument about people want quick results, and people, it's like I said, when they hit the wall of I'm big and lean and I look great, but like that guy's bigger than me and I wonder why. So you're going to start injecting yourself or eating some pills or serums or whatever. There's all these different fancy things that people claim aren't steroids nowadays. What are they called? SARMs?
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah. And like, it's not good. It's really bad. It's they justify it to themselves and they say it's not a drug, but like you're a drug addict if you're taking steroids all the time to make yourself bigger, you're a drug addict. And I think that's a different problem in itself. Like I think you should treat it the same way you would treat an addiction to cocaine or alcohol or anything. I mean, I'm sure there are support groups for that stuff.
There are actually.
You'd imagine, but it's just terrible seeing going to the gym and just you see all these guys that you can like. I mean, I'm judging a little bit, but like half the time you can really tell. Like most of the time you can tell if somebody's been using steroids, and like you hear all these horror stories of these guys that just start using and then they just start beating their girlfriends, or they just start being aggressive, or like,
Yeah.
it's true. And I know girls kind of do it too. Like I said, my mom's told me about how she's not competed against, because I mean, I don't know if they do testing or not at that level.
I believe that she's in the Natural Federation.
Okay.
So yeah. I would imagine they would do testing, because that's the only way they can kind of regulate if people are actually natural or not. Yeah, there's definitely women that I know who do steroids, especially in the competitive world. Even just women that like want to get shredded, they'll take some Anavar or something like that, or whatever it is. I'm not too privy on like what steroid does what. It's, like my body is fucked up enough. I don't need to add some other hormone, like, I don't know, altering issues, right?
I don't even take supplements, no protein powder, vitamins or anything like that. It's just eating. Usually it's just eating. Like I've never been big into it. It kind of upsets my stomach. So like I've had them, I've bought them.
Dairy allergy?
Sorry?
Are you still lactose intolerant?
Yeah, but I kind of eat it and drink it and do all that. I kind of just deal with it. I think I just started eating so much of it that it doesn't upset my stomach as much anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can eat pizza and drink milk and put cheese on things, and it's not as big of a deal, but it's just like once in a while, it's like, surprise, motherfucker. Here's a stomach ache for you.
Yeah.
But no, I get all my nutrients from food.
That's awesome.
And I've always been like that. I don't know. I'm just not a big supplement person.
Totally. Yeah. I find that like just going back to the whole thing about steroids and it being treated like an addiction, it totally is. And it's not like anything that you use to make yourself feel like different than how you feel as yourself sober, as a normal human, that like there's an ability to be addicted to it. And the sad part is like it's a physical self-image problem. It's not even about like, oh, I'm physically addicted to steroids, I can't get off of them, like I need them, otherwise I'm gonna die, kind of thing. It's literally how you see yourself in the mirror. And like with alcohol, with like drugs, like it's the same thing. Like you don't like how you feel, like you don't like who you are in the mirror, but it's more of like a psychological thing, right? But and then psychologically with steroids, like those are two things that are really, really hard, like to see yourself as not big enough or whatever, and then also have all these like that negative self-talk that like you do these things after taking steroids, before you've taken steroids, because you feel inadequate in the world and you need to get your needs met in a certain way. And it's really sad. And a lot of people I know that are kids that start out taking them super young, like it ruins your body for a really long time, like having kidney failure, liver failure by the age of like 30, or losing your hair prematurely, or not being able to have children because you decided to dick around with steroids when you were a kid. Like, and by a kid, I mean like anywhere from the age of like 16, I've heard is like the youngest that I know of, and 19, like when your body's not even done developing, like you're making these decisions that completely change your life. And it's really sad. It's really fucking sad. So if anyone out there is listening about this, don't take steroids.
Don't take steroids.
No. At least wait until you're like an adult so you can make an educated decision and know where you're getting them from, not just some gym bro guy.
Like, I'm obviously not going to mention any names, but I have had two friends that have both had the surgery for gyno because of going on steroids and then coming off of it and not taking proper things to balance out their hormones again. And it's not nice. Like, you got to go get a surgery, and then you're a guy that you have to wear a bra for a while because your chest has to heal. It's like, you get boobs. You start like, is that not a red flag to people?
I
that
don't
like
know.
you're a guy and you start to get big puffy nipples. Like I don't think that's supposed to be like that.
It sure is not. It means you have no idea what you're doing and taking steroids, number one. And number two, like, you fucked it. You, it's like science. If you're not a scientist, a doctor, someone who's like, who actually understands the hormone chemical balance that your body needs, you're not talking to a healthcare professional about like what stuff you're taking. If you're not having those conversations, you don't fucking know, and you're probably going to hurt yourself in the process. And
Yeah.
is it really worth it to be fucking huge? Because you're actually not going to get that huge in a short amount
No.
of time when you take them, which is often why you get gyno, or you get like hair loss because you're trying to go hard and fast, super quick, and get what you want out of it, but it doesn't happen that way.
No, it never does.
No, ever.
But no, it's taking the easy way hardly ever pays off. And that goes for anything, whether that's taking steroids to get bigger or cheating or stealing or trying to get ahead in life in any way. It's not gonna doing it the right way and doing it the hard way. It does pay off. Not only are you going to get to your goal, it's just you feel better when you get to your goal. Like if you train naturally and you go years of putting in work and then you finally come to see yourself looking a certain way, you're probably going to feel a lot better than if you take the easy route and all of a sudden a year and a half later and you of course you are going to look different, but you're not going to be happy about it. You're going to want to take more and you're going to want to get even bigger because you're like, oh, if I did it this quick, I could probably get bigger than that. But
well, it's like, it's like never enough. Once you reach a certain point, once you see your body at a certain level, it's never enough. And that goes back to the body dysmorphia thing. And like, well, I mean, you see it all the time too. Like there's like girls who will get their lips done and it looks natural, it looks beautiful, it looks nice. And then there's girls that go back and back and back and their lips are like huge, like atrocious. And like, you're like, oh, it
looks like a butthole.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not attractive, but like in their head, they're like, I need more, I need more, I need more. Because it makes me feel good about myself when my lips look a certain way. Same with tits. Like, up to your freaking eyeballs, go for it. But I mean, going back and getting them done and redone because it's not enough. It's like there's this idea that more is better, and oftentimes it's not. It's like the grit and the grind and like the lessons you learn and going through it the hard way.
Yeah.
And the mindset and like the strength you build it within yourself, achieving that goal by doing it the long way, the hard way, whatever. It's a lot more rewarding for sure. And also, not to mention, like, I just want to make it super clear, like, I have nothing against getting your boobs done or your lips done.
No, of course not. Again, it goes back to the everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Even though it's not food, it's still like everybody's more than entitled to do whatever they want with their body. What we're saying, I guess, is just kind of be aware and don't just treat it how you would treat anything else, whether that be a substance or food, or you shouldn't have too much of anything. And you got to monitor it. And you got to I know it's hard to govern yourself, but you kind of got to govern yourself and kind of see if things start to get out of hand.
Yeah, you got to have those real ass conversations with yourself, like really, and
it's hard.
Oh, it seriously is. I mean, like having to check in with yourself and evaluate like what you're doing and why you're doing it, and have this like introspective, like hard conversation about what your motives are and where you want to go and how you want to do it and what your morals and values and like where your integrity lies. Like it's fucking really hard. No one wants to have that conversation, but if you don't have that conversation with yourself, like it's going to take serious repercussions to your actions if they're not positive ones, for you to actually learn the lesson, like for your ego to get smashed a couple of times, like before you really learn what the fuck you're doing and why you're doing it. Of course.
Yep. Well, all right. Thank you very much, Cassidy, for taking time out of your day